Some say football is just a sport, but in England, it's blood, pride, revenge. Every goal can spark a war. Every match can make history. Every fan, every chant, every drop of sweat, every heartbreak, it all counts. Today we dive into the rivalries that define cities, destroy friendships and haunt dreams. These are not just games, these are battles. Wars fought on green battlefields, with banners raised high and voices screaming until they break. And in this country, some rivalries never die. Liverpool versus Manchester United, the Century War. They call it the biggest rivalry in English football, but it began long before the Premier League. Two cities, Liverpool and Manchester, once fought not on grass but on trade, smoke, steel and ambition. When Manchester built its own canal to bypass Liverpool's port, it was more than business, it was betrayal. And that betrayal still echoes every time these two meet. Liverpool, the voice of the working class, bound by the anthem "You'll Never Walk Alone." Manchester United, the empire of power, glory and dominance. Ferguson once vowed to knock Liverpool off their perch. He did, for decades. United ruled, but Liverpool never forgot. When Klopp arrived, something changed. That 7-0 demolition in 2023 wasn't a match, it was a revenge served loud. The Kop roared as if history itself was avenged. Now, in the 2025-26 season, the tables are turning again. Liverpool fell 1-2 at Anfield. The second leg looms at Old Trafford, 2nd of May 2026, a battlefield where pride will clash with power once more. Because when these two giants collide, it isn't just a game. It's England itself divided in red and redder. Chelsea versus Tottenham, the Battle of London. It all began in 1910, born from a relegation battle on the last day of play. One survived, one fell, and the bitterness never faded. Fast forward to 2002, the Worthington Cup semi-final at White Hart Lane. A scuffle broke out. The referee sent off Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, but it was actually Mario Melcher who made the contact. The FA later did something rare, they transferred the red card and suspension from one player to another. This re-sparked the hate, as Spurs won the semi-final scuffle game 2-1, a big victory that ignited rivalry. Just weeks later, the two sides met twice back-to-back and Chelsea won both games, adding even more fuel to the fire. Then came May 2nd, 2016. Eden Hazard scored a late equaliser in a 2-2 draw at Stamford Bridge, ending Tottenham's title hopes and handing the Premier League crown to Leicester City. A moment that added another layer of pain and resentment to this rivalry. Since then, every clash carries vengeance. Chelsea's 1-0 victory at Tottenham in 2023 rekindled the animosity. In 2025-26, the saga continues. Spurs lost the first leg 0-1 at home, and the return at Stamford Bridge on May 17th will be a war for pride. Every kick, every foul, every stare, it all screams of envy, rage and unfinished business. Arsenal versus Tottenham, the North London Inferno. In North London, hate wears two colours, red and white. The year was 1913 when Arsenal dared to move into Tottenham's territory. To Spurs fans, it was betrayal, an invasion, and that scar has burned for over a century. When Sol Campbell crossed the line in 2001 trading white for red, Spurs fans didn't see a transfer, they saw treason. When Arsenal lifted the league twice at White Hart Lane, it wasn't just a victory, it was conquest on enemy soil. Yet Tottenham never stopped fighting. Their 3-0 win at the Emirates in 2021 was a battle cry, a reminder that hope still lives in North London. Now in the 2025-26 season, the derby is back. Arsenal host the first leg on November 23rd. Tottenham's revenge awaits on February 21st. Every fan knows this isn't sport, it's scripture. And in this part of London, the faithful don't forgive. Liverpool versus Everton, the friendly derby that isn't. A mile apart, two stadiums, one divided city. They call it the friendly derby, but that name is a lie. Anfield and Goodison Park, brothers by distance, enemies by faith. In the 1980s they shared glory, 7 titles between them, but time turned unity into animosity. Divock Origi's last second winner in 2018 still echoes through the Merseyside night, while Everton's 2-0 win in 2024 was a rare rebellion, a taste of revenge. Now the Reds lead 2-1 after the first leg. The second leg, April 18, 2026, Hill Dickinson Stadium. The city will once again tear itself in two. When the whistle blows, it's not just a game, it's personal. It's family against family. Manchester Derby, battle for the city. Once upon a time, there was only one Manchester painted red. City were the forgotten neighbours, the underdogs. But then came the billions, the superstars, the transformation, and suddenly the blue half stood tall. Aguero's 2012 title-winning goal, Balotelli's glare, Tevez's mocking posters moments that rewrote Manchester's DNA. In 2023, United answered back, lifting the FA Cup after defeating City 2-1. Pride reclaimed, if only for a night. But revenge never sleeps. City crush United 3-0 in the first leg of the 2025-26 season. The rematch at Old Trafford, January 17th, promises fury, because in this city, you don't share the crown, you take it or you lose everything. Newcastle vs Sunderland, pride of the North. In the Northeast, football is religion. Newcastle and Sunderland, two clubs, one obsession. Here, losing a derby is worse than relegation. The pain runs too deep. When Newcastle crushed Sunderland 3-0 at the Stadium of Light in 2023, the celebration wasn't joy, it was relief, redemption, release. The next chapter unfolds this season. Sunderland host on December 14th, Newcastle reply on March 21st at St James's Park. In the pubs, in the streets, in the hearts of families divided by colours, one truth echoes. You can change your job, your house, even your name, but never your club. Arsenal vs Manchester United, fire and glory. Late 1990s England, Ferguson's Manchester United, the ruthless empire. Wenger's Arsenal, the revolutionaries, precise and poetic. Two teams that respected each other until respect turned into rivalry. It was a time when football felt like war. Roy Keane versus Patrick Vieira, captains who'd rather die on the pitch than walk away defeated. Pizzagate when tempers flew, and so did pizza straight at Ferguson's face. Every duel felt personal. When Ryan Giggs shredded Arsenal's defence in 1999, the world gasped. When Thierry Henry danced past defenders, it was art with venom. Years later, the echoes return. In 2022, Arsenal's 3-2 comeback at Old Trafford felt like destiny reborn. The young Gunners reclaiming their fire from the old empire. Now Arsenal lead 1-0 after the first leg of the 2025-26 clash. The second leg, January 24th at the Emirates, Wenger's spirit still whispering through the stands. This isn't just about points, it's about legacy, about who defines an era. And the Gunners know some wars are worth every wound. Brighton vs Crystal Palace, the M25 derby. A southern rivalry born not of geography but of pure contempt. The Seagulls and the Eagles, Brighton and Crystal Palace, just 43 miles apart. What began with petty insults in the 1970s now burns as one of English football's fiercest duels. 3 red cards in their last meeting. No mercy, no peace. The first leg ended 0-0, but come February 7th, 2026 at the Amex, there will be blood in the chants. For fans of both sides, victory isn't celebration, it's survival. Manchester United vs Leeds United, the War of the Roses. Before there was football, there was hatred. Lancashire vs Yorkshire, Red Rose vs White. When Manchester United face Leeds United, the air thickens. You can taste the animosity. The 1970 FA Cup final, the dirtiest game ever played. Fists flew, boots clashed, tempers exploded. It wasn't football, it was trench warfare. To Leeds fans, United represent everything they despise: money, arrogance, empire. To United fans, Leeds is the ghost of rebellion, a constant thorn that refuses to die. Even now, decades later, the roar of the crowd feels ancient, primal, because this isn't rivalry, it's history reenacted. The Quiet Wars, England's other rivalries. Across the nation, countless smaller fires burn. Portsmouth vs Southampton, Aston Villa vs Birmingham City, West Brom vs Wolves. Matches that divide towns, streets and even families. For some, these aren't just games, they're inheritances, passed from father to son, mother to daughter. Because in England, your club is your story. You don't choose it, it chooses you. So why do they fight? Why do fans scream until their voices crack, throw flares into the night, cry in victory and collapse in defeat? It's not for trophies, it's not for fame, it's for belonging, for the city, for the father who first took them to a game, for the anthem that still echoes when they're old and grey. When a team wins, it's not 11 men on a pitch, it's millions of hearts beating as one. It's identity, it's pride, it's life. When they lose, it's not just defeat. When teams lose, the players try not to be in areas where their fans would turn up the coming weeks, because disappointment turns into anger. It's heartbreak that lingers for generations. The beauty of these rivalries isn't in the scorelines, it's in the moments. Origi's last gasp header against Everton, Aguero's title-winning scream, Arsenal lifting the league at White Hart Lane, Liverpool's 7-0 vengeance, Sunderland's heartbreak at Newcastle. These moments define England, because here, football isn't watched, it's felt. From the roar of the Kop to the silence of defeat, from triumph in North London to despair in the North East, the story continues. The flares will light the night, the chants will shake the city. The rivalries will burn, eternal and unstoppable, written in red, blue, white and every colour in between. Because football in England is never just a game. It is identity. It is vengeance, it is love, and it is war.